let's get to our QB list. Now, let me just set this up. These are QBs drafted. We went all the way back to 2020 that you would want to start your team with. So, Ron, who was on your list?
Guys that have been drafted within the last 4 years that I would start my franchise with. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, you're going to, like, when we get towards the end, there's going to be guys who haven't played yet or may have played, aren't starters today, that are on my list because I have faith in them, and I think they're going to have good NFL careers down the road. So at number 1, I got Joe Burrow. I think he's honestly I would put him at the second or third best quarterback in the league when healthy, and that's the big question mark. But I think Joe Burrow is just outstanding. I've watched him closely the last couple games, and he just looks remarkable. So give me him at number 1. I got Stroud at number 2, I believe. What I saw from last season, that he's worthy of that. Just looked really good. Daniels I got at number 3. And that, listen, I wasn't on the hype train with Daniels, but I've seen enough this year from him to say, yeah, I wouldn't mind having him on my team. I put Hurts at number 4. Throughout his career, he was drafted in 2020. I've seen enough to say that he's an MVP caliber quarterback. So I would definitely have him on the team. I got Jordan Love at 5. Drafted in 2020 as well. Sat back, for a couple of years, and he's just looked outstanding the last 2 seasons. Yeah, definitely someone I would want to have on my team. Then I went with Williams from Chicago. High on him for sure. I thought and I still think he has a chance to get in the Rookie of the Year conversation if the Bears continue to win. I think he'll be there. And this is where it gets interesting. So I got Penix of Atlanta at number 7. I don't think he's going to play for a couple years, but I think just because of the situation with Cousins.
He's going to need a cane when he finally plays?
No. I think it's the same situation, right, with Green Bay and what you saw with Jordan Love. At some point, they're going to see what Penix can do in practice and say, we got to make the switch. So I got him at number 7. I put Herbert at number 8. I got Sam Howell, who's not a starter today. I think he's on Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, as their backup. Saw enough from him last season in Washington. His upside is huge to me. Did he lead the league in touchdowns? He was up there in touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, but he was up there.
He was up there in yards,
but he also was up there in interceptions. But that, he was a rookie, so you kind of expect that. I just think he has a lot of talent. I was disappointed that they moved on from him, but Washington went through a whole completely rebuild, so I'm not surprised. I think Howell, though, is a starting quarterback that needs to get the right coaching for sure to kind of reduce the errors. And then I put Brock Purdy at 10. I do think he's a good quarterback. I don't I don't see him in terms of talent as being any better than the other guys that I put in front of him. I think it's a little bit overrated, his talent, because he's on San Francisco.
The only problem that I have is with Penix because we haven't really seen him in action. So I don't know. I would be hesitant to put him on a franchise. Even if you remove Cousins, I'll be like, I want to see him. I want to see him in act before I make proclamation that he's on this. So my list, I went with CJ Stroud. Obviously, same things mentioned. The dude just has it. Daniels, same thing. I think he's gonna get Rookie of the Year. And I think he's might be getting some odds for MVP if Washington keeps winning. So I don't think there's ever been Rookie of the Year and MVP. Same. Williams, because he's showing a lot of flashes. even though it's against bad teams, but winning is winning, I guess. Brock Purdy, I got him at 4. I hate to use the word that he's a system quarterback, but he's in the right system. So he's winning. San Francisco's winning.
Would you take him if it was a different system over some of the other guys that you have behind?
I mean, he got drafted the last player on the draft. So if you were based on just his college career, he got drafted in the right place. But he's performing with the pros, so I don't mind having him on the team. So I put him on number 4. Love, of course, the dude is balling. Yes, he got drafted in 2020, but listen, when you have Aaron Rodgers ahead of you, let him leave. Let him talk. Let him do his ayahuasca. Let him do his, chamber of silence, whatever that can. I like what Love did, and he was always like, yes, sir, no, sir. So I like that. Jalen Hurts. Wow, this was hard because we picked him to win the MVP, but he's not performing as an MVP candidate. So,
but just because he's not performing at the MVP,
no, you still want him as your franchise player, but I don't think he's MVP level. So I have Drake May because he's showing flashes.
He saw 2 games.
That's enough.
Of Drake May.
That's enough.
And
I haven't seen any games from Penix. So,
but you have him above Burrows, right below Jalen Hurts, who's been up for the MVP conversation.
I mean, this is my top 10 list.
Okay. That's a homer pick.
Because his injuries. You can't really trust Burrows, his injuries.
Okay, I'll give you that.
So I can't really put him as my top 5 because you don't know if he's going to last next game, next year. So I don't want that. I don't want to be worried about someone's health, no matter how good. So I got him down there. Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he got an extension. Don't know why. I think that was a lot of money. I think some other team would have given him even more. I was going back and forth with Trevor Lawrence because I was like, is he good? Do you want a franchise? He has a franchise.
That's why I left him off the list, right? But he's my honorable mention. But
yeah. And then I have Justin Herbert, which he was drafted in 2020. We've seen enough. He's winning the game, but he doesn't win in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think he has a abysmal playoff record, but you still want. He fits the mold, right? He's a Josh Allen, 6 foot or taller, 240 pounds. He fits the mold. I just want him to perform. So, yeah. The only surprise in this list is Drake May, and I only put him there because he's showing flashes. Next week against the Jets, if he plays the same way that he played with Jacksonville, no turnovers, couple of touchdowns, he can stay on my list. I want that.
I think I like Drake May. I told you, I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I still don't even think he's like the top.
Well, you have him. Who's your honorable mention?
Yeah, I have him in the honorable mention, but I don't think he was the top 3 quarterbacks in this draft period, this last year's draft, right? So,
I mean, we haven't seen Penix in action. We haven't seen DJ McCarthy in action. All right, Ron, who is in your honorable mention?
Yeah, so I put Trevor Lawrence in there. Listen, like you talked about, he signed the contract already. How good is he? I don't know. I think it's yet to be seen. He just hasn't reached the potential, I think, or the expectations that we all were looking for. So, but I do have him just outside of my top 10. I got Drake May there. I want to see some more. I think he has the tools to be there. JJ McCarthy, I would have loved to see him because I do think he definitely a pro system quarterback. Reminds me a little bit of Purdy, to be honest with you, in terms of his talent.
Probably more athletic.
Yeah. I got Kenny Pickett in there. Then Fields, Mac Jones, Will Levis, Richardson, Nix. I think they're all around, in the same boat.
You would want to start franchise, or do you want them as backup?
I think on some of these guys, I want to see more. Can they be developed? Pickett for sure. He's only had a year and a half, I think. I've seen enough from Fields. I think he is what he is. He's going to have those shortcomings. But Mac Jones, I think there's still hope for him. Will Levis is young, but I think I've seen enough for him to think he is nothing but a backup. And then Richardson, I need to see some more from him. And Bo Nix, he's just getting started. So,
yeah, I think the only two players on that list that I would just write off would be Richardson and Evans. I think Mac Jones has potential. Same thing with Pickett. Same thing with Fields, but maybe as a backup. I don't see them starting anywhere. Or at least where I would be like, oh, these guys are available, because Jones is in his rookie contract, right? So he's going to be a free agent. Fields, I think his rookie contract too, right? So he's going to be a free agent. Yeah, just like, would you say, let's say you were the Raiders, would you want Jones or Pickett or Fields as your starting?
If I'm the Raiders, or if I'm any team getting in the top like 3, and I know who's coming out, like your Cam Ward, your Shooter Sanders, your Ewers, kid from Georgia. I'm intrigued by the potential and just the big playability from guys like Fields and Richardson. If I feel confident that I can get someone to groom those guys, then I would probably sign me up for those 2 over the 4 prospects that I just mentioned. But if I don't think I can groom them, then no, I'm going in the draft. The other guys like Pickett, I think you mentioned, no, because skill wise, he doesn't have the arm strength. He has mobility, but not like, back-breaking mobility that Fields and Richardson has.
Yeah, I think either you have to be like a quarterback whisperer and be like, I can make these players better, or you just want competition in camp, right? You just like, Mac Jones will be good competition in camp, but you're already thinking of someone else, but you want one of these guys of
maybe they'll surprise you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.